The chip sector did really well on the 11th, and that means Qtec did really well on the 11th. Look at this jump up, a gap up, and then just a rocket shot bar pushing the envelope again. Bollinger Band, upper band 166.69, price closed a little below it. The upper Stark band isn't that far away, and it jumped over the channel 3 high. So we can stay above that channel 3 high for up to 5 or 6 days, and finally that gets above price, and if all three are above price, it will just keep pushing that envelope up just like it did back here on this run. So we had a huge sideways action going on, and then this big jump up yesterday on the 11th. And the ongoing supply line was qualified on this bar, so let's see if it can open higher and then tick a little higher, which won't be that difficult to do, and then close higher, which is questionable because it's so close to the high of this bar for today. All that needs to happen. So if it does all that and this becomes qualified and confirmed, and we'll get another supply projection somewhere up here, and price made it above the relative retracement up 3 for Qtec on the daily chart, and that indicates a strong upwards trend there. I haven't seen that for quite a long time on anything, let alone getting the magnet level qualified and confirmed. So let's see what happens here. These get qualified and confirmed, both of these. It's up to the goal of the up magnet here, which is at the close of the all-time intraday high bar. And with the new high, the trend factor moved over. So here's trend factor down 1. Let's watch this one if it gets under there and see if the chart lines for ATM prints the long-term overbought P alert. Look at that fast QQE, just skated right off of the slow QQE and headed right back up to the nosebleed section again. Nothing wrong with that. And the DMI plus and minus are separating again and pointed in their respective directions, plus and minus, and the gap is widening again. And the fast trigger up did make it above the oversold 25 line, and the slow trigger up for ATM skated right off of its overbought 75 just about and started pointing back up again. And the ATM trigger pressure down is pegged up here. And what a picture perfect D wave this has been. A, B, C, and then zigzag had the swing point here at the C, and then just went on this incredible run, still following the D wave up for zigzag, and then it switched over to the D wave down and was following that. Had us concerned for a little while until it finally did make it above this high here on the 27th. Did that over here somewhere, and then we printed the D wave up wave 5, and now zigzag is following the D wave up wave. And same thing here as the Qtec. Our goal is the relative retracement up magnet from the all-time intraday high bars close. So that's the goal. And it looks like the relative retracement up 3s are quite high here, unlike the Qtec, which are already being exceeded down here that we just saw. So this is going to be a high resistance zone up here, and that's a nice space in between them to run up. And it's just about 7 a.m. Central Time, so that means in a half an hour In the Eastern time zone, the 8:30 CPI report, Consumer Price Index report, comes out, and the Fed will have that under their belt. They'll be sitting around at the meeting watching it as we are now, drinking coffee and watching things get better, hopefully. And then the meeting is today and tomorrow, and Powell gives his presser, so he'll have that under his belt, and the PPI, Producer Price Index. So as long as CPI stays flat, or if it actually gets better than expected, especially here on the core year-over-year CPI, they have that going flat, which will indicate a peaking process. So this is good too, just staying flat, upbeat, and things will skyrocket again. A miss, depending how big or little it is. If it's a little miss, I don't think it's going to matter. Momentum of trillions of dollars pouring into the market is not going to stop because of a slight miss. A big miss, well, it's a different story. We'll have to see what happens. A big miss, and we get underneath the conversion line for the S&P 500. Well, then there's that magnet level. You would think that's going to be okay support. Break that, and here's the new trend factor down 1, and the momentum down for 50% and 100% is right there too. And then right under there is the new arc level down 1, which is right by the baseline. So this is a really good support area here for a bounce, and it looks like the investors and traders are not even letting this go down more than 1% before they start pouring the money in. So if it makes it down here, that's definitely a good buying opportunity. Definitely wait to see what happens. If it breaks that baseline, then we have more considerations to think of here for down 2 arc. Here's the trend factor down 2. The disqualified 50% propulsion down. So it has a lot of support on the way down. Depends on how strong the down move is, if there's a big miss on CPI. And the S&P 500 has recently disqualified both of the ongoing supply lines. So they're both disqualified. I can't highlight both of them. You can see there, and the weekly ongoing supply line was disqualified too. So that's an issue, but as long as the tech leads the way, all those chip stocks and that, let's take a look at that. It looks like chips really led the way. I mean, you can see it here. Google, Apple, I think Microsoft, Meta. How did Microsoft do? Nope, they went down. There's a profit taking going on with NVIDIA here, and then Zoom too a little bit. Other than that, that's the chip sector carrying the day there. So let's see what happens with that. AI regulations are coming down the pike, and federal governments around the world are not even close to getting it together on that yet. So AI is going to run away with things here for a while. Yeah, here, look, we just got a blurb here from investing.com, CPI preview, headline figures to inch lower and still far from the Fed's target. So he'll be jawboning things down, or at least trying to, and everybody will just brush him aside and start pouring the trillions in still.